a spiritual respect. Okay? It's a big deal. It's a big deal. Anybody get anything out of that?
Amen.
All right, the one thing that I want to point out to you is in verse 21. You know, he goes through this list of things. But listen. It says, well, let's look at a few of them first. I'll get back to what I was going to tell you about practice. Let's look at a couple others. We looked at sorcery. Now let's look at idolatry. You see, here's why I'm doing this, because people go, well, I'm not an idolist or idolater. I have no idols. I don't have a little idol in my house that I worship. No, maybe you are an idolater. Okay? What is it that you invest the majority of your spare time on doing? What is it, you know, when you're not working and you're not sleeping, you know, I showed you the clock I drew. You know, a third of your day sleeping, a third of your day working, and then another half of the third doing other stuff. You average with about 5 or 6 hours a day of free time. What you invest the majority of your free time in is basically what you, in one sense, worship. Because it can become the most important thing to you. And the thing that is the most important thing to you is basically, in one respect, your idol. Oh, you ought to be a little quiet now. Okay. Well, I'm not an idolater. Well, maybe you are. Maybe you are. What do you invest most of your time in? Your free time. What's the most important thing to you? Well, in a sense, that's what you worship. Do you understand that? Mm-hmm. Whatever's so important to you that you invest most of your excess time in it, that's basically your idol.
Yeah.
Enmities, which is translated in your King James Version much better. King James Version translates it as hatred. Hatred. Well, I don't hate nothing. Well, maybe you do. Look. Just like, you know, Jesus said, you know, don't commit adultery. And the law of the Old Testament said don't commit adultery. But I'm telling you this, if you just spend all your time focused on lusting about somebody, you're basically already committing adultery in your head. Okay? And the same thing, the Old Testament says don't commit murder. But I'm telling you this, if all you do is hate somebody in your heart, you're already committing murder. It's just not manifested yet. It's just like I've told you this 100 times. You know, what is H2O?
Water.
Sometimes it is water. Sometimes it's steam. Sometimes it's snow. Sometimes it's sleep. Sometimes it is water. Sometimes it's solid ice. But it's still H2O from one end to the other. Do you understand? That's what murder is. Murder is murder. Whether you've done pulled the trigger or you just hate that person. I mean, it's murder. It just hasn't manifested yet. Same way with adultery. Well, you know, I've never done the act. I sure would like to. You're involved in adultery. Get it? It just ain't manifested yet. But that still is what's going on in you. Y'all are in your quiet moods today. I'm trying to show you something here. Hatred is a big deal. Well, I don't hate nobody. Well, maybe you do. Because, again, just like H2O is always water. Well, I don't hate somebody. You know how that's going to start off? You know what the steam manifest of that is? I really don't like them. I have no love for them. I really don't like them. That's just like saying steam. Get to pull the trigger would be ice. But it's still hatred. It's still the opposite of love. Do you get this at all?
Amen.
Thank you. Overwhelming amen. All right. The word strife here in my New American Standard is the word variance in King James. But in Greek, I'm going to give you some Greek lessons today. In Greek, it's the word eris. And guess what? Where it says variance in your King James and strife, right there in the New American Standard, the Greek word eris, that's the only time it's ever used in the Bible. One time. It's a unique word. How many of y'all ever have any strife? Oh, just one of you. It literally means this in Greek: contention, quarrel, and debate. Contention, quarrel, and debate. A little further. Now remember, these are works of the flesh. In King James Version, one is wrath, and in New American Standard is a burst of anger. And in Greek, it's uncontrollable temper tantrums. Uncontrollable temper. All right. Carousing. Carousing in my New American Standard is translated reviling in King James. It's the Greek word komos. Y'all will get a kick out of this one. Because y'all have done some carousing, reviling. You know what that means in Greek? You know what komos means? Let me look. I'm going to make sure I don't miss this. Literally. Letting loose as if you were an unwalled city. You let yourself in a situation, you put yourself in a situation where you, quote, let loose as an unwalled city, you would understand carousing. Okay. And he ends it up by saying, and things like these. More stuff like this. Here's what I want you to understand. This is not a list of the fun things that God don't want you to do.
Amen.
This is God giving you a list of stuff that's going to kill you.
That's right.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
God didn't give you a list of, I know these are fun things, but I just don't want you to do them. He's saying, this stuff will kill you.
That's right.
All right, here's what I want to show you is in verse 21.